Welcome back! Oh, I should say, what are we doing? The Japanese thing. Arigato! Okay, so what we are going to do now is look at the structure of how to put this all together. So I've got like a little map, which I should be giving you a copy of today or whenever I see you. Okay, but the structure is pretty simple in terms of, how it's laid out. So here we go. So you've got your intro, and in your intro you use this iTask stuff. So remember back where I said you needed to identify all these things? All of these things are now going to turn up in your introduction. Okay, so we skip back, here we go. So your introduction is basically all that iTask stuff put into full sentences. So if you do a good job of your, the first 10 minutes of your SAC, if you spend 10 minutes just really kind of getting all your, grunt work done, pulling it all apart with your annotation, you'll actually find that the writing up is very simple. It's just kind of like putting all the bits into the right spots. So, introduction, you cover iTask. Now, remember, iTask is a guide. It's not a Bible, okay? Work it in naturally. Don't kind of go, okay, I need to do I, and then T, and then A, and then A, then R, then S, then C. It's not how I want you to do it. I want you to make sure it kind of flows nicely. So if you kind of decide you want to do the issue, and then the text with the authorship details, and then you want to do stance and contention, because it sounds good, then do it that way. Okay, do it the way that it kind of flows nicely. Okay, I always recommend though start with the issue, start with I, because I feel like once you set the tone of this is what the issue is about, then the rest kind of can go in quite naturally. So that would be my advice, but you won't lose any points if you decide to do it elsewhere. Just make sure it sounds good. Okay, and then you have, in this case, you'll probably have 3 arguments. If you've got 4 arguments, you'll need 4 paragraphs. If you've got 2 arguments, you'll need 2 paragraphs, etc. So, we've got argument 1, 2, and 3. You have 1 argument per paragraph, hence why I've got 3 paragraphs organised. Now, the body of your essay will work through each of the arguments presented in the article. And you'll find most articles you'll be able to split it into like 3 arguments. Okay? You'll need to identify the tone and the argument in the topic sentence, and then analyse the persuasive pulls using our 2 questions. Now, we'll talk more about the 2 questions later. So you've got your 3 paragraphs, your topic sentence, you put in the tone and the argument, and then you do 2 persuasive pulls per argument with their question 1 and 2. And again, we'll talk about question 1 and 2 in a moment if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about. Then you move on to the second argument, topic sentence, and then 2 persuasive pulls. Argument 3, topic sentence, 2 persuasive pulls. And then a conclusion, which is kind of quite basic. Oh, I've left in something from Year 12s again. Mea culpa. But trust me when I say, when we get to that bit, it'll make more sense. Alright, introductions. Oh no, I have another dog invasion. Okay, hang on. Ready? This is Winnie. Winnie, do you want to show yourself to them? No, you want to steal my Coke. She's being very naughty. She's trying to get food. Hey. There you are. It's you. She's my Sukila. Okay, hang on. No, Winnie, get away. Alright. Okay, she needs pats, apparently. So I'm just going to pat her while I do this. So one hand is going to be busy patting the dog. Okay, so you've got, in your introduction, you address the issue, the text, the author, the audience, the relationships, the stance, and the contention. Okay, now I know I've got S on that, it should be singular. Again, when you are in second semester, you'll have to do it with more than 1 article. Okay, and then instead of saying text, you'll say texts. Now, I've got an example. Here we go. And look, it's even color-coded. I'm so nice. All right. So, I've got the color coding up the top, as you can see. Now, my issue outline is, it's not huge, but it's a couple of sentences just to kind of give the basics. So I've got the changing the date of Australia Day. This is just like just an example of like an issue. This is something that we used last year, and I've just kind of tweaked it a little. But so the issue is changing the date of the Australia Day. So changing the date of Australia Day, due to the colonial connotations it possesses, has been under debate for the last few years. Those who believe we should change it consider celebrating on the 26th of January as an exclusionary and offensive practice towards Australia's First Nation people. Those who are opposed to the change think that the date is now a part of Australia's tradition, and that the date is not a celebration of colonial history, but a celebration of the great country Australia has become. Right. So what I've done there is just outline what the issue is about and the two kind of sides to it. What does one group think? What does the other group think? Very, very basic. Okay. Then I move forward and I start looking at, so this is obviously the authorship details. So I've got the title and the author. So Andrew Bolt's opinion article, ABC claims push building for changing the date of Australia Day. That's obviously my title. And then opinion article is my text. What text type is it? It's an opinion article. Takes the stance that opposes changing the date. So there's my stance in red. Contending, green, that the date of Australia Day should not be changed merely because of Aboriginal rights activists' pressure. Okay, so that's my contention. Bolt is a journalist that writes for the Herald Sun and has a current affairs show on Sky News, both of which align to his conservative political views. Okay, so there's his relationship. How is he relevant to this idea? Well, because he is a journalist in the industry, and he's also a very conservative journalist. So, and then last but not least, I've got my audience. The readership of this article, the audience, would be predominantly politically conservative readers, because obviously he's a politically conservative writer, and so if he's a politically conservative writer, then politically conservative readers will read him, who have a negative view on Aboriginal rights issues, because he's kind of quite well known for saying some not nice things about Aboriginal rights, and are not supportive of the date change, because most likely the people who will read an article that are anti-Australia Day are people who, anti-Australia Day change, are people who also believe that Australia's date for Australia Day should not be changed. Okay? You preach to a converted audience most of the time. Okay, so that is our intro. Pretty simple. Just like lots, I guess there's a lot to do, but none of them are particularly difficult. You just have to kind of memorize what iTask is, and then, smooth it through. Okay, so hopefully you feel comfy with that. I'll be back to show you how to do paragraphs in a moment. Mwah!